Being aware is very important, but how much awareness, do we have to when how can we increase our awareness by watching? We can help ourselves a lot by not so much what we do, but what we don't do. Like, if we spent the same amount of time that we would watching reruns of what we've already seen, sitting still and visualizing the harm of war, and picture and feel it very clearly in our hearts, how the people must feel. How do the Ukrainians feel? Many of you probably saw the picture of the two children by the road, one with a little teddy bear or some kind of stuffed animal, saluting a convoy of Ukrainian soldiers going to risk their lives to protect their country. These children were only about 5 or 6 years old. So, how do they feel? How do the parents feel? How do they explain that to an innocent mind? How do they explain an invasion? There's no context in a child's mind. How far have people, wandered from truth that a child has to, invade another country? And it's not the pity here is that the Russian people feel the same way. It's terrible. And so, if we want to do something for ourselves, the best thing we can do is send good energy by avoiding, endless watching of news. Because news isn't news after you've seen it once. Myself, I look once a day, I absorb what I see in a half hour. And then the rest is in the back of my mind someplace where I can think about it. Think of all the context. See if any of that is in, negative energy is in myself. And try and picture what's really happening, because everybody's lives is threatened here. It's not just Ukraine. There's, terrible, potential. And so we don't want to be ignorant of our own vulnerability. And we want to be sympathetic to the people that are already vulnerable and being, terribly violated. If people throughout the world spent a half or a quarter of the time that they spend watching the news, and I mean not even when it's news anymore. The news is, changes, every 4, 5, 10 hours, To watch it again and again is sick. It's not a good mental exercise. And it doesn't help the Ukrainian people. But what does is like sitting quietly, even if you have if you're an atheist, just sitting quietly and just thinking about it, internalizing what's happening, and identifying with the people that all of this is happening to. And that generates love and compassion. for others, our brothers and sisters who we are connected with. And they feel that. Thoughts have wings. So let us be wise about this isn't entertainment. It generates advertising dollars, but don't let it generate yours. Be disciplined and use your mind. You cannot be like a cow chewing its cud, watching the news all the time. I know people that watch the news endlessly. It's poison. And so send a little love to the Ukrainian people by respecting them and not making the news some sort of entertainment. People feel it if you just be quiet and still for a little time, the time that you would watch the news when you don't really need to watch the news. Send love. Send good thoughts. Recite Om Tari Tutari Turi Soha. Recite Om Mani Padme Hum. If you're Christian, recite a Christian prayer. If you're Jewish, a Jewish prayer. Muslim, a Muslim prayer. Or just sit quietly. Don't recite any prayers. And think about what you've seen on the news. Internalize it and make it real in your heart so you really feel love and compassion and sympathy for the people that are this ancient city that's so historical, and a beautiful place where people have lived long time, over 1,000 years. Think about that. And send your love in the airwaves. I wish I had a happy message because I'm not a downer person, but it's just hard not to be a downer.